Welcome to the Buckley Performing Arts Center. Sorry for the folks who are here live, as this is a live event that's being broadcast on 95.9 WATD, also being broadcast live on Massasoit's television station. I want to thank everybody for being here, and also thank the two candidates for being here who are both looking for your vote for mayor come next Tuesday. This event, of course, is being sponsored by WATD, the Enterprise newspaper, and Massasoit. And as I said, there's three different audiences that are actually involved with this particular debate. First, again, I want to welcome the folks who are in the audience. You have actually a front row seat to a very important event. I also want to ask the audience members, as you were prompted earlier, to refrain from applauding until the end, to allow both the mayor and her opponent plenty of time to address the issues without being interrupted. Of course, we also want to welcome the radio audience that normally tunes into 95.9 to hear Monday Night Talk, as well as the Brockton residents who are watching this on Comcast TV and can view this program. I also want to extend a thank you to Mr. Damish, who is here this evening. Anything you want to say, Mr. Damish, in regards to this particular forum before we start things off?
No, I'll let you continue with your nice speech.
Go right ahead. Thank you very much.
Great to be here.
Joining us on stage, of course, is Brockton Mayor Linda Balzotti, who is seeking a third term, along with Ward 5 School Committee member and mayoral candidate Bill Carpenter. I want to thank both of you for being a part of this unique forum, which is allowing Brockton voters to get a better idea of where you each stand on a variety of issues. Before we go on, we're going to go through a little bit of an outline as to what's going on here. Starting off this evening, the panel will be myself and Mr. Steve Damish. Other than sitting here and posing questions for the first segment, we will also be taking turns moderating this event. As well, we also have three students from Massasoit who, when we get to this segment, it'll be the second segment, they'll get up before a microphone and pose questions to the candidates. Our third event, or our third segment, will be a lightning round. This actually gives the candidates a chance to think on their feet, with giving either a brief answer of yes or no, or answering in 1 to 2 sentences. As far as how it's going to go, as far as answering the questions, and I'll get to the fourth segment because there are 4 segments. Depending on whose turn it is to answer a question, that candidate will get 2 minutes, with the other candidate getting a 1-minute rebuttal. Now, the final segment to this is a chance for the two candidates to pose questions to each other. Maybe they might want to talk about something that maybe we might not bring forth here during our question and answer period, that they themselves want to question their opponent on. If there's no further comments, we did do a series of coin flips to get things underway, and I believe that starting things off, give me a second here to take a look for my notes. I believe we go with the opening statements, and it was a coin toss, and I believe that Mr. Carpenter won the coin toss to go first. So, Mr. Carpenter, you have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Steve. My name is Bill Carpenter, and I'm here tonight to ask you for your vote to serve as the next mayor of the city of Brockton. I chose to live in Brockton 27 years ago, where I've raised my 6 children. And today, those 6 children, along with my 3, soon-to-be 4 grandchildren, all still live in Brockton. I care about our city. That's why I led the effort to build a new Little League complex at the Downey School that includes the city's only handicap-accessible baseball field. And that's why I've called Brockton High football on the radio for the past 17 years. I've served 4 years on the Brockton School Committee, where on the school committee representing Ward 5, I coordinated and implemented the plan to rebuild the Plouffe School playground at Justin DeMello Park, a playground that had been vandalized and wrapped in yellow police tape for over 2 years. As chairman of the Facilities Committee, I oversaw the renovation of Marciano Stadium and the refurbishment of 8 city schools, a $36 million project that only cost the Brockton taxpayers $7 million. I also led the effort to open the state's fourth recovery school, Independence Academy, to serve teenagers battling alcohol and drug addiction. And most recently, I was proud to be part of the team that helped bring the Rocky Marciano statue home to Brockton. I'm running for mayor because I believe that it's time for a change in the city of Brockton. Our city is in trouble. Today, Brockton residents are 3 times more likely to be the victim of a violent crime than the average Massachusetts resident. And it's not just that murders are already up 50% over last year, but it's that violence is a daily occurrence in the city of Brockton. Brockton taxpayers are paying $6 million a year to a Korean company for desal water that we do not need or use, while property taxes are being increased to hand out pay raises. Tonight, I will share with you my vision for the future of the city of Brockton, a city with safer streets, a city with lower taxes, and a city that is open for business.
Thank you, Mr. Carpenter. Mayor Balzotti, you have 2 minutes.
Thank you to Steve Damish, Kevin Tocci, to the Enterprise, and to WATD and to Massasoit for hosting us this evening. And thank you to everyone here and those at home. My name is Linda Balzotti, and I am currently serving in my 2nd term as mayor of this great city, and I am running for re-election and asking for your vote on Tuesday, November 5th. I am running to continue serving as mayor because I love this city and because I've always had a passion for doing the work it takes to build a brighter future for the community that I have always called home. I believe in Brockton. I've always believed that my job as your mayor has centered on working with you, on standing up for our city and standing up for all the right reasons. Together, over the past 4 years, we have stood up to make progress in a number of areas. We've made responsible decisions, preserved core services during the worst economy since the Great Depression. We've also worked tirelessly to prioritize public safety. And since day one, we have had a zero-tolerance approach to crime. We've strengthened our commitment to community policing, and we've focused on enhancing street outreach efforts and various preventative efforts that will have long-term impacts in reducing crime. We've built on our success to guarantee top-notch educational opportunities for our students, and we've strengthened the quality of life in our neighborhoods. In downtown and across the city, we've also spearheaded more than $100 million in economic development initiatives, and we have led efforts to reinvest in our parks. And by following a smart infrastructure improvement plan, we've laid the foundation for much more to come. That is the work that matters to all of us. It is the positive work that we are doing together each and every day for Brockton, and it is why I'm running to continue leading our city as your mayor, because we still have so much more to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Balzotti, and thank you, Mr. Carpenter, for your opening statements. We now turn our attention to the first segment. As you see, we have the timer at the center of the stage, and on top of it, green until it turns yellow, and then red. Then, of course, you'll know it's time for you to wrap up. 2 minutes for the first person to answer the question, 1 minute for a rebuttal. And I believe Mr. Carpenter won that coin toss, and he gets the first question from Mr. Damish.
Thank you, Mr. Carpenter and Mayor Balzotti, for coming to this very important forum. The Enterprise is proud to help sponsor this. It's a vital part of the process, and we hope we're writing about record turnout on Tuesday, November 5th. We hate those stories that Brockton has low turnout. Get out and vote. Everybody listening and watching, it makes a huge difference. The questions I'll be asking are from the Enterprise staff and a nice collection of questions we got from readers who emailed those into us in the last week or so. And the first one's from the staff, however, and I'll address it to Mr. Carpenter. You have said Brockton residents are 3 times more likely to be victims of violent crimes here than in other cities, that the city is, quote, flooded with guns and drugs, unquote, and is on the brink of becoming the next Detroit. We all know the city has issues, as most do, but is it fair to characterize Brockton in such a negative fashion, or is this an attempt to scare people into voting for you?
Well, Steve, I think that as I've spent the last 8 months knocking on doors, walking the streets of the neighborhoods of our city, clearly there are 2 primary issues on the minds of the voters: crime and taxes. And I've spoken with senior citizens. They're afraid to leave their home or their apartment alone. I've spoken to parents who are afraid to let their children walk to school. I didn't quote that fact lightly. That came from a national website called neighborhoodscout.com, a nationally recognized website that provides information to real estate brokers and prospective home buyers about schools and community information and crime statistics of various American cities. 2 years ago, Brockton was ranked as the 58th most dangerous city in the country. This year, they ranked Brockton as the 41st most dangerous city in the country. So I didn't make up those statistics, and I think it's indicative of where the city is today. Murders are up 50% over last year. A day does not go by that we don't hear a report of shots fired or a stabbing or violence. So I understand that it's difficult to not portray Brockton in a negative light when you talk about the crime problem, but I think people want to hear about what our plans are for the future. And I think the fact of the matter is that the people in this city do not feel any safer than they did 4 years ago. And I have a plan. I've been specific. I've put out a plan called Brockton Fights Back. And it's a very detailed 10-point plan as to how we will restore safe neighborhoods to the city of Brockton. And I invite people to read that plan in full detail on my website, billcarpenterformayor.com. You can also find it on my Facebook page, Bill Carpenter for Mayor. But we've made specific proposals as to how we will reduce crime in this city. And given the opportunity, I will restore safe neighborhoods to our city.
Very good. Mayor Balzotti, you have 1 minute to rebut.
First off, I'd like to just read a quote from the FBI that says that there is caution in using the numbers and statistics. These numbers lead to simplistic and incomplete analysis that often create misleading perceptions, adversely affecting cities along with their residents. I want to make it clear also that reporting statistics in the state of Massachusetts is not mandatory, and that only about 35% of the communities in Massachusetts actually report their statistics. The advantage of reporting the statistics is the fact that you apply and you can use that information to apply for grant money. And in fact, for statistics for this year, if you want to go by Brockton statistics, assaults, for example, are down 10%. Overall crimes against persons are down 8%. And the total amount of breaking and enterings are down 5%, and arson and total crimes against property is down 5%. So you can take statistics and manipulate them any way you want. However, that's not to say that we don't have an issue in terms of public safety, but we are working on it concretely each and every day. 256 guns have been taken off the street in the last 4 years.
Is there a rebuttal, Mr. Carpenter? 1 minute.
Sure, yeah. I'm sure we can stand here and debate statistics all night long. I believe that the people who live in this city do not feel any safer than they did 4 years ago. And I don't think it's misleading when the Boston TV news stations are setting up remote broadcasts from here every week to report the latest violence from the city. This reputation for violence that the city has is hurting all of us. It hurts homeowners' property values, and it hurts business in this city. Businesses are reluctant to locate here, not just because of our high commercial property taxes, but they're also reluctant to locate here because they're afraid that their customers will be afraid to come to their business in Brockton. So we have to turn the corner on violent crime. I've put forward a very specific 10-point plan. We need to do community policing. We need to adopt anti-gang techniques that have worked in Springfield. We need to address some of the long-term issues that affect crime in our city, like a drug court for the Brockton District Court. So anyone that does not think that crime is the #1 issue in this city is not paying attention.
Do you want to rebut that, Mayor?
First off, I just want to say that we actually have an anti-gang task force in the city working diligently. But in addition to that, it is not just law enforcement issues that you have to deal with. It's societal issues. And we've taken on a lot of preventative work in terms of working with young people to address crime. I don't think that anybody is saying that there is not a public safety issue, but what I am saying is each and every day the men and women of the Brockton Police Force are working diligently to address those issues. And to say that they are not, or to assume that their work is not being done, the community police efforts we have had for a long period of time, probably even before I was mayor, and we continue to work on that. In terms of how some of the mentions of in your plan, you talk about faith-based. We have faith-based. We have Operation Divinity. Much of the plan that you have or that you've proposed are things that we are already doing. So, you know, what is going to be different?
Well, first of all, Mayor, please don't put words in my mouth.
30 seconds, Bill.
I've never once criticized the fine men and women of the Brockton Police Department. They're doing a great job with what they have to work with. They're undermanned. There are only 170 Brockton police officers, while comparable-sized cities like Taunton, Fall River, New Bedford all have 220, 230 police officers. So I think our police officers are doing a great job under very difficult circumstances. I'm the father of one of those police officers. So I would never, ever criticize their job performance. They need help. They need new techniques. They need leadership. We need to restore the trust between the people in the neighborhoods and the police. We need to get the guns and the drugs off our streets. Our children are shooting each other and poisoning each other with drugs.
Let's move on to the next question. Question, I believe, is towards Mayor Balzotti. You have 2 minutes to answer this question. Since taking office 4 years ago, did you have a policing plan to combat crime in the city for gangs, drug deals, prostitution, and gun violence? If so, where is this plan? Could one see this plan that you have? You have 2 minutes.
Okay. What happened when I became mayor is I actually had one chief for 1 year and then a change in chief. As we changed chiefs, we changed protocol. So we have a number of things. First off, we introduced an anti-gang unit, which we have that is currently working. We've worked to fill vacancies within the police department. We currently have 12 in the academy, and we have 4 hires funded. We have worked diligently on preventative areas. We have Operation Divinity, which is a faith-based program where a faith-based leader, social worker, and police officer go out to at-risk homes. We have the Safe and Secure initiative, which we use for at-risk youth from 13 to 24 who are either known to be perpetrators of violence or victims of violence. We've worked on our community policing efforts. So I don't have a written out plan because the chief and I have developed the plan as we've gone, and we've changed things as some things have worked, we've found better than others, and as those things have occurred, we have made changes in order to work harder and more diligently at some of the problems that we've had, particularly taking and getting guns off the street, dealing with the neighborhood issues that perplex neighborhoods in terms of drugs and violence, and dealing with houses where there are problems. And we have worked very hard in developing the different programs and applying for the grants necessary. We started the downtown Montello and Campello walking beats that have proven to be very, very effective. We've done several sweeps, about 10, I think, in the last year and a half, that have also proven to be very, very effective in getting individuals off the street. Part of the problem is, too, that, you need assistance from the court system as well. But we have worked and developed things along the way to address the problems as they arise, because that's what sometimes happens with plans. You have to change them up a little bit.
Okay, time. You have 1 minute to rebut, Mr. Carpenter.
Sure. First of all, the Brockton Police Department had a gang unit long before Mayor Balzotti took office. They've simply changed their name a couple times. The unit has been there fighting gang activity in the city long before Mayor Balzotti took office. The mayor often references the 12 new officers being hired. That's great. They are simply backfilling open positions. The truth is that the police department has been level-staffed or below-level staffed all during Mayor Balzotti's 4-year, two-year terms, 4 years of service. A couple of the things that the mayor cites I refer to as election year law enforcement. Yeah, we've got some cops walking some beats in business districts now. 3.5 years after becoming mayor and 4 months before an election, all of a sudden we've got police officers walking beats. And the last sweep before last, was 5 days before the preliminary election. So, some of these steps have occurred recently toward the tail end of Mayor Balzotti's 4 years of service. My plan makes a lot of different recommendations. I don't have time here within the limited time constraints, but we address quality of life policing, drug courts, reinstituting gang and drug curriculum to elementary and middle schools.
We got it. Do you want to rebut, Mayor?
Yes, I do.
I'm sorry,
First
I couldn't
off,
see the
it was not called an anti-gang unit before my tenure. Second of all, the policing beat walks started long before this year. The first sweep that took place under Chief Gomes took place in June of 2012, but there were several also under Chief Conlon. There are currently 12 people in the academy. There are currently 4 positions to be funded in the budget that we're awaiting lists from civil service. 2 of those positions are new. They are not refills of retirements. They are new positions created by a COPS grant. So we are, in fact, expanding. What you will find in terms of hiring for police officers, the difficulty is we've had these individuals, the 12 individuals, hired and ready to go for a long period of time. The problem is getting an academy through the state to put them through. That has been the biggest holdup and challenge. But there are many, many positive things going on in the police department to address public safety.
Thank you, Mayor.
Well, if I'm the mayor, we'll be sweeping the bad guys off the streets of the city every day, not just for high-profile purposes for the newspaper.
Mr. Carpenter, starting in 2010 and 2012 is not high profile. And if you have your way about how you want to do things, we're going to end up in court more than we're going to end up arresting people because you got to follow the Constitution.
Well, you see, Mayor, I'm very familiar with the Constitution. I am more interested in protecting the constitutional rights of the law-abiding citizens and families that have to live in the dangerous neighborhoods in this city. Let's protect their rights first.
Folks.
And then you cost taxpayers more money.
Okay, folks, if I can ask the folks in the audience, remember, this is going out on TV and on radio, so when you're applauding, nobody can hear you. So please, I understand that you're passionate about these issues, but let them answer it, and at the end, you can reward them for their answers on the evening. Do we want to move forward with another question? I think we do. I believe, Mr. Carpenter, you have the next question.
Great.
When you kicked off your mayoral campaign, you unveiled a plan that, if elected, you would seek an agreement with the power plant developers where you would secure an annual deal that would net the city enough money to hire extra police officers and also lower taxes. What is your contingency plan for tax relief and additional police if you cannot successfully broker a deal? You have 2 minutes.
A couple of key points there, Kevin. You're right. I did mention that as one part of several streams of revenue that I would develop for the city budget that does not come out of the pockets of the Brockton taxpayers. I spoke about developing our water resources. We have excess water that we're paying for that we don't use. I talked about developing our excess sewer capacity that we have that is very marketable along with our water to surrounding communities, public and private users. And I did also talk about the possibility of revenue if we were able to reach an agreement that's in the best interest of the residents of Brockton with the developers of the gas-fired electric plant. I have not said that that's the linchpin of the plan. It's one piece of a plan with several parts. What I do know is that we've lost 9 consecutive court decisions to the developers. So I have suggested that after 6 losses and 3 appeals that have also been lost, it's time to look to see if we can negotiate a settlement. That's the phrase I've used. If we can negotiate a settlement in the best interest of the people of the city. Keeping in mind, as mayor, I will not be able to do any of this unilaterally. I would have to secure a good deal that I could then convince a majority of the city council to accept. So, certainly my work is cut out for me, and it's not the only piece of the puzzle. But I do believe the path that we're on now does not make sense, and I believe it's time to take a new look at this with the specter of a $68 million civil rights lawsuit hanging over the head of this city, a lawsuit in which Mayor Balzotti is one of the named defendants. It's time for us to deal with this proactively and not continue to spend. We're now about $1.3 million of the taxpayers' hard-earned money paid to out-of-town lawyers to lose 9 straight decisions.
Time. Mayor, you have 1 minute to rebut.
First off, I'm not going to put a price on the health and safety of the residents of Brockton, so I'm just going to stay where I am right there. But second of all, the discussion Mr. Carpenter is having in terms of the enterprise funds and the water and the sewer revenues, those cannot be used for general fund projects. They can only be used in water and sewer accounts. And beyond that, we have issues right now already with our permitting process with our sewer treatment plant. So we are currently going through the federal NIBSD's permit, and there's concern that they constantly change the amount of loads or chemicals that you can have in your flow. So as that changes, it changes the limits that you have for the plant. So the ability to sell off sewerage is long, long off if at all, considering the fact that as we develop our city and refill some of these unused buildings, we're going to need some of that ourselves. So we have a long way to go before we even do that, but those revenues wouldn't count for general fund.
Mr. Carpenter, you have a rebuttal. 1 minute.
First of all, the DEP, as they raised our limit, has encouraged us to regionalize our sewer. So our limit has been increased above our needs as the DEP would like to see us regionalize our sewerage. Let me go back to this pending $68 million civil rights lawsuit against the city. I'm quoting Judge Sorokin in his May 30th decision, referencing Mayor Balzotti and the other defendants. The conscious, shocking nature of the alleged conspiracy as a whole is underscored by allegations that the defendants, including Mayor Balzotti, often acted against the advice of legal counsel to further their own personal and political interests, and well knowing there was no legal justification for their actions. So, I think this is a pretty, this raises a critical issue, and I would love the mayor to respond and tell the taxpayers, have you ever acted against the advice of your legal counsel in any litigation between the city and the developers of the electric plant?
You could also save that for the final segment, but Mayor, if you go 1 minute if you want to quickly rebut.
Mr. Carpenter is advised by legal people in his campaign, so he certainly knows that I cannot respond to that.
Okay.
And I'm not going to jeopardize the legal.
All right.
But I will talk about the wastewater treatment plant. And the fact that while he may say that DEP is asking us to regionalize, the NIBSD permit comes out of the federal government. And they, in fact, change the amounts of the loads, as I stated earlier, and can, in fact, and may, in fact, impact what we will have available to sell to other communities. So, and again, that money goes into the enterprise accounts, not into general fund revenue, so it can't be used for police officers. It can't be used for any city services.
Well, I plan to talk some more about enterprise funds later in the debate.
Okay.
I know I will not be allowed enough time here right now.
That's correct.
But I do think that the taxpayers of this city who will bear the burden, if that $68 million civil rights lawsuit is settled against the city, that will be paid for by you and I. And I do think we have a right to know whether the mayor has ever acted against the advice of her legal counsel during this litigation between the city and the developers of the electric plant.
Do you want to quickly, or are you all
And
set?
you will find that out as we proceed through the legal process.
Okay.
And you keep running up the legal bill over $1.3 million.
All right, enough. Mr. Damish with the next question. Mr. Damish, you will put the next question to Linda Balzotti.
Okay, thank you. Mayor Balzotti, in the first debate, you said you are hard at work developing a marketing and branding plan for the city, along with the Metro South Chamber of Commerce. In your inaugural address a couple years ago, you said, quote, "We need to tell our story every chance we get." But for a four-year mayor who has a degree in communications, why isn't such a plan already in place?
Well, we have been working, Steve, actually on things within our office in terms of trying to promote. We had a lot of ground to cover initially, redoing our website, developing a newsletter, developing social media networks and all of those things in order to get our message out. But in addition to that, we wanted to be in a place that we had really some great projects to tout, and that's where we are right now. We have the Trinity Project, we have Station Lofts, we have Bernardi Auto Group, we have Market Basket. We have a number of wonderful success stories in the city now where we can, in fact, promote the city, brand the city. It's also we also needed to plan out for the financing of it, and working with the Metro Chamber, we were able to set up a partnership, and that was another big part of it, was how do you fund it? Because once you fund it and do the branding, you want to be able to do all the things, the marketing things that go along with the branding. So now we are in a position to do that. We are in a position where we can, in fact, market the city. But that does not mean for the last 4 years we have not marketed the city. I have championed the city everywhere I go, including at the state level, to try to get the financing and the support that we have gotten from the state. And I also have encouraged residents as they've gone about in their daily travels, wherever they are, to promote and highlight the wonderful things that go on in our city every day. But I think with our new website, the social networks that we have established, and now the work that we're doing with the Metro Chamber, we are going to be able to do that in full force. And to be able to do that, you really need to have a method and a way to do it and a plan to do it, and I think we have that now.
Mr. Carpenter, you have 1 minute to rebut.
Well, I think in order to market the city, the mayor ought to open the door and come out of the office once in a while, and that's what I would do as the mayor. I would be out there promoting the city of Brockton as an ambassador for the city. I would make this city much more business-friendly to attract businesses here. I would, as far as the website goes, I don't think our website is very good at all. I've looked at the websites of a number of other cities. We ought to have our permits and licensing online. If this is the new good website that she's coming up with, we're in trouble because our website is about 10 years behind most other cities our size. And I'm not sure if in terms of social networking, if the mayor's talking about her Facebook page, I know she has devoted some time to that.
There's actually a City of Brockton Facebook page. We do the newsletters, and believe me, the website is far better than it was before. And quite frankly, Mr. Carpenter, you could not keep up with me if you tried every day.
Okay. Mr. Damish will ask the next question. Goes to Bill Carpenter.
All right. Bill, you've had...
I'm willing to take that challenge, John.
Hold on. Go ahead, Steve.
You have had 3 personal bankruptcies. Two. And they've been no secret. If someone told you this was the reason why they couldn't vote for you, how would you respond?
Steve, I'm glad you asked the question. Let's talk about it. First of all, I have handled this issue throughout the campaign with painful transparency. I've never sought to hide or conceal anything in my past. I've spoken about it openly, repeatedly throughout the campaign. For families that have raised kids here in the city of Brockton, it's not always easy. I went through a difficult divorce with 6 children at the time. 3 of those children were young toddlers. During the course of that, to anyone that's been through a divorce and known a family in divorce, it's always financially devastating. Some families come out better than others, but all families are hurt financially in a divorce. During that period of time also, I had a teenage son become addicted to drugs, and that was financially and emotionally devastating to our family. So during those difficult years, I had to make some tough decisions, and I did what I thought a parent is supposed to do. I protected and cared for my children first, and then I took care of the rest of the world later. My children were always my first priority. I made sure they had a roof over their head, that they had a meal on the table, they got their homework done, they had clothes to go to school. Maintaining 2 households for a number of years, I was trying to balance 2 houses on 1 paycheck. It was keeping 2 balls up in the air, but I was slipping further and further into debt while I did it. And then when the real estate market crashed and my income fell by 2/3, I ended up with all of the kids on 1/3 of my former salary, and we struggled. But I'll tell you something about me. I've been knocked down a few times in my life, but I've always gotten back up. And I get back up stronger every time, because things that don't kill you make you stronger. And maybe it's time for someone to serve in City Hall. Maybe it's time for someone to serve in City Hall who has felt some of the same pain that families across our city face right now.
Time.
So I'm not ashamed of any of that
Time.
history, but I'm not
Easy.
I'm not ashamed of any of that history. I'm not proud of it either. I took care of my kids.
1 minute to Mayor Balzotti. You've got to rebut.
I'm not going to comment on Mr. Carpenter's personal financial issues, and I haven't throughout the campaign. That's his business, that's his private business, and I'm not going to do that. But what I will say...
I guess maybe that's because you have Mr. Byers mailing out all the postcards.
That has nothing to do with me. I had
your picture on it.
I have no knowledge. They take my picture off the website. But first, I want to say something about his comments at the end that people don't understand pain. Mr. Carpenter, you don't have to declare bankruptcy to have pain and watch struggle. And I watched my parents struggle raising myself and my brothers and sisters. I watched my mother work 2 jobs, my father work a job. I watched what they had to do. So while I admire what you did for your children, I'm never going to question that. What I'm going to say to you is, don't think that I do not understand. nor sympathize with the people of this city and the struggles that they go through. Because I struggle to go through for my education. I struggle through my own work. So please don't ever say that I don't understand.
We'll move the question. Next question goes to Mayor Belzotti. Mayor, one of the top questions, we put the question out on social media, let folks get a chance to submit their own questions, as Mr. Damish had the same thing with his newspaper. One of the top questions we got was in regards to taxes. You repeatedly say that you're the best person to be mayor of the city, yet property taxes and water rates have risen annually at the same time that we've seen city employees get pay raises and also the six-figure salaries. Please justify that statement with your actions while being in office.
First of all, water rates have not increased since 2008. So that is incorrect, that they have increased annually. Second of all, when Proposition 2.5 was created in the 1980s, even the people putting that together did not call it Proposition 0. They knew that communities each year would have costs that would rise, fixed costs that would rise, that they would need at least 2.5%. But the other part of that is when Proposition 2.5 was passed, there was also another piece of legislation passed that allowed for arbitration for public safety employees. Therefore, you have to negotiate with your unions. You have to negotiate with your public safety unions, but you have to negotiate with all your unions. We did that for the past 4 years, and we finally settled those contracts. And were there salary increases in them? Yes. And there's going to be a discussion about 13 department heads that received pay increases as well. They got salary increases similar to the union contract because I have another number of department heads who are in a union whose contract was settled. So I would have had 13 individuals out of all of the hundreds of employees in the city who had or would not have received anything. And that's the process. You negotiate with the unions first, and you settle the non-ordinance second. And as part of those non-ordinance positions, you had 10 people who do clerical duties that cannot be in a union, who saw all of their friends and colleagues with the same work titles that they have receive raises when they've received nothing. We have done everything conservatively. The contract settlements were not even to inflation, and we have worked very hard with our unions. And because of that, that's the strong fiscal management we have. While we, yes, in fact, have given out salary increases, we have not given out ridiculous salary increases.
Okay. Mr. Carpenter, you have 1 minute to rebut.
Well, first of all, this year, 275 city employees made $100,000 or more. And a lot of those raises to department heads and key employees that you gave out on the same night that you submitted the budget went to people making $8,000 to $10,000 raises to people making $100,000 a year or more on the same night that you raised property taxes by 2.5%. And the people in the city, most of whom are making a lot less than that $100,000, are being asked to pay for that pay raise. There's a sense of arrogance to it that's wrong. And as mayor, I would freeze my own salary, and I would freeze the salary of the department heads until we can balance a budget without raising taxes. The mayor just explained clearly her plan is to raise taxes 2.5% every year. My plan, if elected mayor, I will hold the line on taxes next year, and I will reduce the water and sewer rates because, as the mayor said, you know, there's $14 million being held in surplus in those water and sewer enterprise accounts.
Time. Do you want to rebut, Mayor? 1 minute.
Mr. Carpenter, you can talk and talk and talk about not raising taxes. You are not going to be able to provide the services that you want to provide the people of the city without raising taxes to at least cover fixed costs. If no politician, no elected official wants to raise taxes. What the fire department got in terms of their union contract was actually less than what the teachers received for 4 years. So you're trying to do parity and fairness, and it's very, very difficult when you're bargaining with unions to try to not only hold the line, but hold the line in terms of budget. But, you know, you can say anything you want right now in terms of what you're going to do with enterprise accounts and revenues, but when the bottom line comes, The things that you want to do are just not possible. You can throw them out there now, but they're not going to be possible, and you're not going to be able to give people the services that you're claiming you're going to be able to give them.
Quickly, 1 minute, Mr. Carpenter.
First of all, Mayor, that firefighter's contract was a political payoff for support of the union in this election. Otherwise, well, listen, it was a payoff. Let me tell you why. The mayor settled with several other city unions first, and her CFO at the negotiating table told all those unions that they would only get 1 year retroactive pay increase. That's all the city could afford. That's all any of the unions were going to get. And then after settling several city contracts with other city unions, she gave 3 years retroactive to the firefighters. And isn't it just a coincidence that on Election Day, there are firefighters standing in front of every polling place in the city holding Mayor Balzotti's signs?
Hold on.
And you know what, Mayor? You know what, Mayor? If you gave me that deal, I'd be out there holding your sign, too.
Mayor, you got 1 final minute.
First of all, Mr. Carpenter, that the retro was actually 2 years, not 3.
It's a 6-year deal, right? 2 years back plus this year?
Let her answer. Hold on. Let her answer, Mr. Carpenter.
Second of all, it took us 4 years to reach an agreement with the firefighters. There were many things the firefighters wanted, many things we wanted. There was a back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But more importantly, if we didn't reach or come to some agreement with the firefighters, we would have ended up in arbitration. Did you see what happened to Boston in arbitration? 6 years, 25%. So we did very well. 6 years, a little over 11%. We worked really hard with the firefighters, and to insinuate that that was because of campaign is ridiculous. We've been in negotiations and discussions for the last 4 years, trying to get them to the table, get it settled. And we were successful. And we were successful in a way in which it was a very reasonable contract, less than the cost of living.
Fine. We're going to let you one minute, Mr. Carpenter, and then we're going to move to the next segment. So
it
one
doesn't
final
seem
rebut.
that reasonable to the hardworking people in the city who make a lot less money that are being asked to pay for it. And it's not a coincidence that all those firefighters were holding signs. I met them all. I was at all the polling places. There were firefighters holding signs in front of every single polling place during the preliminary election. The fact of the matter is that you have a credibility crisis with your other city unions now who were lied to at the negotiating table before you cut the deal with the firefighters.
All right. Well, we're going to allow the candidates a moment to kind of gather themselves. And again, this political forum between the 2 Brockton mayoral candidates is being broadcast live right here to this audience, as well as Massasoit TV. We've got a great crew working out back, as well as live on 95.9 WATD. Now, we also want to thank Massasoit for sponsoring this, as well as the Enterprise newspaper, plus some of the folks who are making this broadcast possible right now, BTA Development, Life Care Centers of the South Shore, S-Bank, and McGuigan's Pub. Now it's time to move to the second segment, and this is going to feature 3 students from Massasoit. We have Jahath Harriet, Gloria Mara Vega, and MJ Wanvier. If we could please give them a little light, and let's have Jahath step to the microphone with his first question. Now what's going to happen? Jahath will ask his question, and we'll keep going going back and forth. He has a follow-up question. So, Jahath, your first question will go to Mr. Bill Carpenter.
Yes. It's kind of hard for me to follow because everybody's yelling like it's Fenway, but my first question is, what are your strategies for bringing innovative ideas into the city?
Bill, you have 2 minutes.
On any particular issue or just in general?
In general.
Okay. Well, I think that the key for the mayor is, as I put my administration together, I will surround myself with the highest quality, high-caliber individuals that I can find. I will get top people who are willing to challenge me every day, top people who will, not just be yes people, but will bring interesting and innovative ideas to the table. We will think outside of the box. That's been part of the problem. The administrations up until now have not been able to do that. Right now, the administration balances the budget by seeing how much money we get from the state, raising taxes to cover the difference. We will creatively develop other sources of revenue coming into the city budget. We need to start running city government more like a business and develop our resources and develop streams of revenue coming into the city's budget so that we can stop taking it out of the taxpayer's pocket every year.
All right. Mayor, you have 1 minute.
We work a lot with the various college institutions to try and help and get volunteers. We work with faculty members. We work with even college students and a lot of individuals who have the educational background to provide us with the assistance that we need to do certain programs. One grant process that we've just recently gone through that we'll find out about at the beginning of the year, we utilize members and staff from Stonehill, Bridgewater, Massasoit has helped us in the past, banking institutions. So we've built a whole group of individuals that have been helping us and working with us to do and work on programs in the city and to bring us new ideas and ways in which to do things and to show us creative ways to do things. And it's been a very successful partnership that we've been able to develop.
Jahath, what's your second question? You will pose it to Mayor Linda Belzotti.
Yes, my second question is, what can we, the youth, do to change the perception of our city?
Well, there are a few things you can do. We have a Brockton Youth Council that we've been working with, and we ask them to work with their peers to promote things and to have programming, which they have done. And I know we've done some poetry nights and some other things. But in terms of young people, I think the biggest advocates for young people are young people. And in working with the groups and the different things that you do here at the college and promoting those things and getting other young people involved so that they know what's going on, they have things to do, that is the biggest way that you can help us. And we could also use your energy and work and service in the city as well. If there are particular things that you're interested in, that you would like to be involved in, we would love to have you involved in the community as well. We need more young people, more active young people to get involved. And I think it's a terrific, terrific thing that you're even asking this question and being interested in that. But it is all of us working together that's going to make the city better. We can arrange for you to be involved with our Promise Fellow, and she can give you some information on the program she's doing. Some of them might be able to be extensions that you could do here in the college or even do throughout the community with the friends that you have. But we would love to make a connection with you in terms of doing that, because I really believe that that is part of the key to addressing a lot of issues in the city is peer on peer and young people working with young people. So I give you a lot of credit for asking that. Thank you.
Mr. Carpenter, you have 1 minute.
I think the most important thing that young people like yourself can do is, first of all, graduate from college and then come back and live and work in the city of Brockton, because that's where our future is getting this next generation to invest themselves and come back and buy a house in Brockton and work in Brockton. And right now, that's just not happening like it used to. I just know so many families that over the last few years, as their kids graduate from college, they're not coming back to the city because they think there's more opportunity someplace else. But I would love to see us, I have put forth a plan already to proactively provide financial assistance to Brockton High graduates that come back to teach in the Brockton Public Schools. I think we need our young people to mentor and role model, certainly graduating from college. We've got to get you through high school with a plan for your future. But when you graduate from college, we need for you to come back to the city of Brockton, plant your roots here, be part of our city, and help us rebuild this city together.
All right. Our next student, MJ Janvier, he'll come to the microphone with his question. MJ?
Candidates and public officials often spend a great deal of time addressing older voters in the community. How do you plan to address and include the youth of the community?
Could I just hear the end of the question again, please? I'm sorry.
How do you plan to address and include the youth of the community?
Okay.
Who's first? I'm sorry.
Who's first?
I believe that you're first,
okay.
Mr. Carpenter.
It's a great question because we absolutely are not doing a good enough job of that right now. I would say to the youth that are over 18, vote, because that's how you get politicians' interest. If you can actually vote, you'll get the attention of the elected officials. But I think that there's a lot we can do with youth. I think that the youth in our city has become more diverse. I think we have to recognize the cultural differences, and I think we have to reach out to all the various communities within the city and make all communities within the city feel as though they're part of the city, young and old. But I think also part of it is with young people like yourself to get involved.
Linda, you have 1 minute.
Okay, thank you. When I became mayor, we reorganized the Mayor's Youth Council, and the council's working very hard with a Promise Fellow who's doing programming, community events, anti-violence, peer events, a lot of things. We still hold Brockton After Dark every summer, and this year we actually added bus transportation to help young people get there. And we have also been working on increasing the number of jobs that are available for young people. And yes, voting is a very important part of your young adulthood. However, I'm not going to just help you because you can vote or can't vote. I'm going to help you because I believe the young people truly in this city are this city's future. They are the ones who are going to take care of this city. They are the ones that are going to govern this city. And youth has always been at the forefront of my concern as mayor. That's why I have somebody in my office that specifically looks for grant funding for youth programs, that deals with young people every single day, because I believe that that's most important.
Our next and final student is Gloria Mar Vega. She has 2 questions. She'll ask her first one now. Gloria Mar?
As you may know, there's a serious lack for work for teens in the Brockton area. What are your plans for improvement in this area?
Is that me, Kevin? I'm sorry. Is it me?
That's for you, Mayor.
Well, first off, there have been several companies that have opened that have increased and hired a lot of young people. One in particular is Market Basket. They have hired a lot of young people. But we have also, are you talking part-time work, full-time work? It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Okay. So we have been working also to increase jobs available to young people during the summer, particularly high school and college students or people that are looking for work in the summer. We're trying to develop new programs both with BayWib and on our own to increase that. In addition to that, the biggest source of new jobs for people, young or old, is to bring more businesses into the city. And we have done that through Bernardi, through Market Basket, through a variety of businesses that have opened at the mall, a number of businesses that have also opened on Belmont Street. But that really is our driving force right now, is to bring and increase the economic development in the city so that, in fact, you will have places to work and places to grow. One place, if there are individuals that have any interest in medicine or medical background, one place that's hired significantly over the last couple of years is the Brockton Neighborhood Health Center. But that's the way in which we have to do it. But we do work with BayWib in terms of looking for additional grant monies, particularly to make summer jobs available, and that might not be applicable to what you're looking for, but the kinds of jobs you're looking for full-time come with bringing new business into the city, and that's what we're trying to do. And hopefully when places like Crown Linen are finished and open up, there'll be also additional employment opportunities there for you.
Mr. Carpenter, you have 1 minute.
Well, it's interesting to me that the mayor keeps citing all this business growth, but in his cover letter to the city council on this year's city budget, your own CFO stated that there was no growth in commercial property tax revenues this year. So if we're bringing all these companies in, why aren't commercial tax revenues increasing? He stated that there was no growth in revenues. To specifically address your question, we've got to do a better job in providing job skills training for young people. The Mayor's Summer's Job Program is primarily kids on the side of the road picking up trash. I don't know how that helps them prepare for the future. I would like a youth employment program that provided real job skills training that help people get into careers. The Market Basket and Buffalo Wild Wing jobs are great. We need to bring companies with their jobs into the city with real jobs that families can support that workers can support their family on.
Do you want to rebut now? 1 minute.
Part of our working with BayWib is part of what they do is career development and career assessment. We have a Youth Works program, and all of those things come through the funding that we look for in order to ensure that that kind of job skill training is there and available for young people. So we are working on that diligently.
Mr. Carpenter, do you want to follow? Are you all set?
Yeah.
All right.
Let's move
Gloria
on.
Mar, I believe you have one more question. Please share it.
How would you work to make the community more welcoming to the LBGT community?
More welcome to...
Tell him what the acronym is.
Lesbian, bisexual, gay, and transgender.
Okay, so you want us... Run the whole question by me again.
How would you work to make the community more welcoming to the LBGT community?
Well, I didn't realize we were unwelcoming, but I think we want to have the city attract all people to the city. And I think that Up to this point, we have not done a very good job of it. The city, in terms of our cultural diversity, whether it's sexual preference diversity, racial, ethnic diversity, unfortunately, that diversity has not translated well into city government. And I think there are many segments of our population here in the city right now who feel like they're not represented in city government and city decisions. So I think that what you're describing is one piece of a much larger issue of opening up and changing the way we run city government and involving everyone in city government. I think there are a lot of folks from a lot of communities in this city who do not feel as though they pay taxes, but they're not really represented in city government.
Mayor, you have 1 minute.
We are very welcoming to everyone, and we have worked very hard to work with everyone. I think some of the issues that need to be discussed, we could do forums, we could do anything that would be educational in nature to welcome people. We could reach out to them. I would come to an event, however you would like to do it. But I think one of the issues, too, involving all of that is working on anti-bullying kinds of campaigns and just getting people to be more understanding and to have a kind of change in their thought process. And I would be more than willing and available to meet with you to discuss any things or any ideas that you might have that you think that we should do or we should be working on. But I think it needs to be a whole community approach, and I would be more than happy to work with you on that, and so would my office.
What we really need to do to make this city more welcoming to all people is reduce the violent crime. I mean, that's the biggest obstacle to people coming to Brockton right now. Let's try lowering crime and lowering taxes. I think Brockton will look a lot more attractive to everyone.
Mayor, do you want to rebut real quick? No. While I have you applauding, if you would, please give these three students who are very nervous. Thank you. Now we get to move forward. We actually are going to go from the student segment. We're just beyond halfway. And we're doing the lightning round. And this is where candidates will be challenged to answer a given question with either a yes or a no or 1 to 2 sentences. Now, this is a segment that my WATD managing news editor back at the station loves using during our forums to get a candidate to give a straight answer without all the extra political jargon that goes into a response. And we're going to go right into it. Steve, you will pose your first lightning round question to Mayor Linda Balzotti.
And most of my questions do come from Enterprise readers, which I love to see. First one, will you publish monthly statistics on the police website so the public can see trends in crime in Brockton? Would you publish monthly statistics?
I believe that would either be a yes or a no, Mayor. And if you want to give 1 to 2 sentences, you may.
Yes, working in conjunction with the chief.
Mr. Carpenter.
Would I be willing to publish monthly statistics? Absolutely. The public has a right to know what's going on in the city, and I don't think they always do right now.
Okay, very good. All right. This one goes to Mr. Carpenter. Do you feel that the water billing crisis Brockton endured a couple of years ago is behind us, or are there still problems? 1 to 2 sentences.
There are still a lot of problems with the water billing crisis in the city. The number one issue with the water billing crisis is over 700 families that still have liens on their home. 1 or 2 sentences, okay. My 1 sentence is, yes, let's review the accounts of the 700 families that have liens on their houses.
Mayor? Mayor, you got an extra sentence or 2 in, you go ahead.
No, we have reviewed the situation. We have settled out the cases. We have put in new meters. The new meters are functioning well, and we are working diligently with anyone who comes out with a new bill. And I believe that we have moved forward.
Okay. You're the mayor next.
Oh, no. Go ahead.
Next question to whom?
To Mayor Balzotti.
This is another reader question. Has the East Side, with its decrepit storefronts, bad roads, and neighborhood blight, been forgotten?
No, it has not. In fact...
1 to 2 sentences.
No, it has not. We have construction work going on right now, or being planned.
Mr. Carpenter.
All of our business districts in this city need help. That's why I've proposed a Main Street Managers Program.
Okay. All right.
It's not
This goes
Main
to Mr.
Street.
Carpenter.
Doesn't have to be on Main Street, Mayor.
All right. Are you for or against enforcing resident requirements when it comes to city employees or department heads? Yes or no, and give a 1 to 2 sentences. Mr. Carpenter.
Yes, I will. No, the mayor hasn't.
Mayor.
Yes, I will, and yes, I have enforced the ordinance as written.
Okay. All right. I'll ask the next one. All right. All right.
Lightning round means quick.
Yeah, it's quick.
Lightning.
All right. All right, here we go. Mayor Linda Belzotti, as part of the redevelopment of downtown Brockton, should Main Street from Belmont Street to Pleasant and Court Street, which is currently one-way, be converted back to two-way traffic, yes or no?
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter.
Absolutely yes. Just ask any of the business owners in that part of the city.
All right.
From Mr. Carpenter, are there any direct benefits, there's another reader question, to Ward 4, my backyard, she says, from the power plant?
From a proposed gas-fired electric
Are
plant?
there any direct benefits to Ward 4 residents from a power plant there?
I think the benefits will be for all the residents of the city.
Yes or no?
I think yes. I think all residents will benefit, yes.
No.
Ward 4 residents.
No.
All right.
Hold on, folks. Come on. Okay.
I answered no.
Okay. Question to Mayor Belzotti. Have either of you been to the desal plant and seen how it works? Mayor Belzotti.
No, I have not been.
Mr. Carpenter.
Yes, I have, along with 6 gas-fired electric plants.
You too.
Okay. So I believe Mr. Carpenter, has your opponent offered any good ideas that you might use if you're elected? Yes or no?
I'm sure there's one in there somewhere.
Okay. Mayor Belzotti, has your opponent offered any good ideas that you might use if you're reelected?
No, all his crime ones we're already doing.
Okay.
Mayor Belzotti, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being perfectly safe, 10 being extremely dangerous, how would you rank the city of Brockton?
5.
8.
Okay. Mr. Carpenter, let's see. Have either of you read the entire 82-page Aquaria plant contract?
Yes, I have, and I've also had it reviewed by 3 different attorneys.
Yes, and I've had it read by not only my attorneys, but an outside firm.
Okay. Mayor Belzotti, should the city of Brockton continue to help the Brockton Rocks pay its lease on the conference center and stadium? Yes or no?
Yes, because it is better to keep the lights on than to shut them off, and we'd have to return too much money.
Yes or no, in 1 or 2 sentences, Bill.
I will implement a whole new plan so that we don't have to keep losing all of our hotel motel tax money to underwriting that pink elephant.
The question to whom? Mayor Belzotti?
Mayor Belzotti.
Will the city ever have a movie theater again?
I hope so.
Absolutely yes.
Okay. I believe Mr. Carpenter is next. List your top 3 achievements.
My top 3 achievements?
Yep.
Well, I think I outlined some of. Well, I got to give a quick answer, don't I? Leading the effort to open the recovery school, helping to close 3 multi-million-dollar budgets during my school committee terms, and raising my children, not necessarily in that order.
Mayor?
Working to bring the Trinity Financial Project to downtown, working on the redevelopment of the mall. And the last one is not while I was mayor, but I'm still very proud of it, and that's the Bright Fields.
Okay. I'll ask my next question to the mayor. Is it feasible or profitable if it was feasible or profitable, would you consider purchasing the Aquaria desalination plant? 1 to 2, yes or no, in 1 to 2 sentences.
Yes, but only if it's going to save the ratepayers money.
Yes, and I have a plan to do so.
Good. Well, you asked 2 more.
2 more questions, okay. Mayor Belzotti, do we still need a Brockton Water Commission?
For the time being, yes.
I'll say yes.
Okay. My question again?
Yep.
Using a scale of 1 to 10, once again, how business-friendly would you say City Hall and Brockton are? 1 being downright indifferent, 10 being extremely helpful to business people.
11.
Okay.
1, the mayor ought to get out and talk to more business owners.
Well, again, this political forum is between Brockton Mayor Linda Belzotti and mayoral candidate Bill Carpenter, being broadcast live on 95.9 WATD, Massasoit's TV station, as well as all you folks who are here live. We are getting to move to our final segment, and I'm going to turn over the reins to Mr. Steve Damish. This is where the 2 candidates get to pose questions to each other. Mr. Damish.
And in the final segment, we'll follow the same time format as the first segment, 2-minute response and 1-minute rebuttals. Who gets the first question? You took notes.
I believe we have Mr. Carpenter.
Mr. Carpenter asked the first question.
Yeah, and we're following the same pattern all the way through.
Okay. So the first question in the final segment is Mr. Carpenter asking Mayor Belzotti.
Okay. Madam Mayor, your DPW commissioner on your behalf presided over the worst municipal scandal in Brockton's history. Thousands of Brocktonians received grossly inflated water bills because of faulty water meters, and then your administration placed liens on the homes of hundreds and hundreds of city residents who were unable to pay those inaccurate bills. That same DPW commissioner had his term expire in January, and you have declined to reappoint him. I'm sorry, his term expired in February. You declined to reappoint him in January. However, on June 25th, the City Council approved your recommended $7,800 pay raise for that same DPW commissioner, increasing his salary to $126,000. Please explain to us how you decline to reappoint someone to a position for almost a year, but yet give him almost an $8,000 raise. If he's your guy, why haven't you reappointed him? And if he's not your guy, why are you giving him an $8,000 raise?
First off, Bill, I did not reappoint him because at the time of reappointments, somebody had actually already announced that they were running for mayor. I don't know if you had announced by then or not, but Councilor McMillan had. So in fairness to the councilor and the process, I told all department heads that I was not going to reappoint them so that whomever the new mayor was would have the ability to pick his staff or her staff. The second, in terms of the salary increase doesn't go with the individual, it goes with the title. So if, in fact, the new mayor or if there were a new mayor and that mayor decided to select somebody else, that person would get the salary. Salary doesn't go with the individual. It goes with the title. But in all fairness to anybody who would hold that seat, there was a lot of questions and issues when I ran in 2009 regarding hiring of people and people being given contracts prior to the election. So in the event of that, I decided to not reappoint. There are a number of department heads whose terms have expired who have not been reappointed.
It's a convenient explanation, Mayor.
It's not convenient. It's well thought out, and it was done for a reason.
It was almost a year ago, Mayor. I understand if someone's contract is up now. His contract was up. His appointment was up in February.
Correct.
Almost
He was
a year ago.
He's the first one that expired, and somebody had already announced that they were running for mayor. It's not convenient. It was a policy and a decision that was made.
Let me just understand then what you're saying. The mayor serves a 2-year term, but after 1 year, they're not going to reappoint any department heads anymore.
Mr. Thorson was finishing up a 3-year term.
That wasn't my question, though. You're saying the mayor only serves a 2-year term, and you're telling us you declined to reappoint him because there was an election coming. After 1 year, I mean, with that rule of thumb, the mayor would never make any appointments in the second year of their term.
Well, no, because they would be reappointed and their term would extend.
So just to clarify for us, Mayor, then, if you are reelected, then can I assume that you will be reappointing Mr. Thorson, seeing as you gave him an $8,000 raise?
I did not give him an $8,000
Well, the
raise.
money's in his paycheck.
The title was awarded the raise, not necessarily the individual.
And that's it. This debate is between Mayor Belzotti and Mr. Carpenter, not between them and the audience. You can hear your comments quite vividly up here, and that means they can hear it on air, too. Thank you. Next question goes from Mayor Belzotti to Mr. Carpenter.
Bill, Brockton has a Plan B city charter which gives the city council strong powers. I've served as a city councilor. I'm proud of my record working with the council to achieve a number of goals. In an interview with WATD in May, you said you didn't think you needed the council for a whole lot, and with regards to the power plant, that there wouldn't be a lot of city council approval needed, and that you would completely change the city's position. Given all your ideas for the power plant, how would you plan to make those happen without the council?
First of all, you're misrepresenting what I said. You took a few seconds out of a half-hour interview out of context.
Same thing you've done the whole night.
Okay, all right. Yeah. I'm not sure what I took out of context, but let me attempt to answer your question. I fully understand our form of government, and quite honestly, I think I would do a better job of working with the city councilors than you have. The fact of the matter is that most of the city councilors have complained about the lack of accessibility to you and the lack of involvement in city business with you. So I'm very surprised, for someone who served a dozen years on the council, that you haven't been able to work better with the council. I do have a 4-year track record on the school committee. I do know how to work with people that I don't start off agreeing with, and to find a consensus, to find a middle ground, and how to build a consensus. And I would look forward to working very cooperatively with the city council and developing relationships and working with them in a way that they would treat my proposals fairly. I think at the end of the day, the councilors will take their own responsibilities very seriously, and they'll vote in a manner that they believe they should vote in. But I will certainly be working closely and openly and have much better communication with the city council than what they've had for the past 4 years.
Bill, I have worked closely with every single councilor on various and different projects, from every ward councilor to every at-large councilor. I have a very good working relationship with that city council. But you are continually telling people about all these things that you're going to do that are all going to require, or most of them are going to require, city council approval. So it's unfair to send out to these people that you're going to do this and do that and change this and change that without acknowledging the fact that you're going to need the support of the council. And I didn't take your comments out of context. Your comments were pretty clear that evening on that debate, or that discussion with Kevin Tocci, that the council didn't matter. Well, council matters a lot.
All right, 1 minute. Are we all set?
Clearly, in our form of government, the mayor has to work very cooperatively with the council. There are some things the mayor can do, however. As an example, Mayor, you could lower the water and sewer rates because you have a $14 million surplus in the water and sewer enterprise accounts. And I'm sure you're familiar with Mass General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 53, that states, that outlines, this is the Massachusetts law that governs how you establish and operate an enterprise account. And right in this Massachusetts statute, it says you can use the surplus subject to appropriation or to reduce user charges. That is something you can do. That $14 million that you keep holding and rolling over every year, it's not your money. It's the ratepayers' money. And if we're constantly carrying that surplus, you ought to give some of that money back to the people who gave it to you.
Final word on this question.
First of all, Mr. Carpenter, it is not up to the mayor to reduce the water rates. The water
you propose the rates, then?
No, I do not.
Okay.
Read the ordinance. You go to the commission, and the commission goes to the council. It does not come to me. In terms of that money is used because of the outstanding bonds and capital expenditures we have that we are currently paying off. But it is not up to me or within my purview to lower the water rates. And we have outstanding bonds on our sewer treatment plant. We have millions and millions of dollars worth of work that we have to pay back.
But you still keep rolling that $14 million over.
I need to jump in here. if we want to get two more questions in before
Right.
the closing.
Before
So
we
the next
wrap
question is Mr. Carpenter to the mayor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, your question to Mayor Belzotti.
And then you go final question, Mayor.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Wasn't that?
No, you
Sure.
asked that
Oh,
question.
I'm sorry.
believe it or not.
Okay, I'm sorry. Confused.
Mayor, you've referred to the Aquaria water contract as ironclad, and you've also been quoted as saying it is what it is. Why haven't you proactively done something to fight for the Brockton taxpayers to get us out of that horrible deal?
Mr. Carpenter, we have worked proactively to get out of that deal. We've had that contract turned inside out and upside down by a number of people, including paying a private, highly touted and highly regarded municipal law firm to try to find an out for us. We've gone through everything that we can within the contract. We've called for water. We've done everything that we could possibly do. And we will continue to look for ways to do that. But I am also not going to list out my strategy of how we're going to work towards this in public in a debate forum. But I will tell you that we do work at it. We have worked at it every single day to find some kind of way to break it.
Well, what you've been doing for years is writing a $500,000 check every month to Aquaria LLC, a $500,000 check every month. And your comment in the paper is it is what it is. What I will do as mayor in January is I will stop payment on that check, and I'll immediately file a court action for breach of contract, and I'll fight like hell for the residents of this city to stop being fleeced for $6 million a year.
And it'll go through a court process. And you'll still pay that money while you go through a court process. And then when you need the water for when one of the main lines breaks, you'll be involved in a controversy with them, and then you won't be able to get it.
So in other words, you're saying it's a good idea, then you want to continue paying the $6 million. You've just completely contradicted yourself. You just contradicted yourself, Mayor.
Look, I said that we would continue to work at it, but if you get into an adversarial with them and go through a court process, then you're going to have difficulties if you actually ever need that water, which you could.
Well, I guess they like you. You send them a $500,000 check every month.
Final question, Mayor.
Mr. Carpenter, you've talked a lot in this campaign about the city hiring practices while you and many of your family members are city employees. Would you take an anti-nepotism pledge to make sure that city residents have a better shot at getting a city job over you and your family members?
Well,
Time is getting short.
no, that's okay. I need a chance to respond
No,
now.
go ahead.
Mayor, you are way off base. In the entire city payroll, I have one relative on the city payroll, and that is my son, Bill, who's a Brockton police officer, who served 5 years in the Marine Corps and earned that veteran status to get his job on the police department. And he was appointed to the Brockton Police Department 4 years before I ever ran for public office. You may be the first female mayor of this city, but you're a member of the Old Boy Network, Mayor, and we've got a friends and family plan of hiring practices right now. I don't have the right last name. I'm the outsider here, and I will change the hiring practices. It's time that we start hiring people for the city based upon what they know, not who they know.
Well, then,
All right, please.
Hold on, folks. Mayor, go ahead. One
hiring
last comment.
practices seemed to work out all right for you, though, didn't they, Mr. Carpenter?
Yes, I'm 1 for 2 out of jobs.
All right, let's move to...
Mayor, I'm hoping to get a new job the first of the year with the city.
Hey,
Oh, you're leaving the health department?
all right, guys. Time now for closing statements. You get 2 minutes. Mayor Belzotti, you will go first.
Can I
Folks,
wait
quiet
till
down,
folks
please.
settle down? I want to thank again the Enterprise, WATD, and Massasoit, and thank everyone who's joined us here and those at home. 4 years ago, when I first ran for mayor, I mentioned that, like many Brocktonians, I was raised to understand the spirit and the true fabric of this great city. My dad, Janicio, a World War II veteran, and my mom, Betty, both instilled in me what we all know about our city, that we're a city where neighbors help one another, where our kids get a great education with opportunities to shine in academics, athletics, and the arts, and where good businesses like to set down roots and set examples for the world. We're also a strong city that has never shied away from a little hard work. We've confronted challenges together with determination and always for the best interests of Brockton. Over our work together over the past 4 years and this campaign has always been about living by these same principles. It's been the work that I've done as your mayor over the past 4 years to guide the city through the most challenging financial times since the Great Depression. It's been our tireless efforts to strengthen our public safety and quality of life for all city residents. It's been our work together to build a private-public partnership that's bringing about more than $100 million in development to our downtown. It's been about our efforts to stand together in opposition to the power plant while bringing new businesses like Market Basket, Crown Uniform and Linen, and the Bernardi Auto Group to Brockton and help existing businesses continue to grow. And it has been a commitment to invest in our infrastructure, in our schools, in our parks, and our playgrounds, and on our streets and roads that will provide our city with a stronger foundation for years to come. These are the reasons why I've always dedicated my heart and soul to this city, and this is the work that makes it an honor and a privilege to lead the city of Brockton as your mayor. My name is Linda Balzotti, and I proudly ask for your vote and support on Tuesday, November 5th. Thank you.
Hold up, folks. 2 minutes, Mr. Carpenter. Closing statements.
Well, also, thank you to the Enterprise, WATD Radio, and Massasoit Community College for hosting tonight's debate. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight you've heard a tale of two cities, Mayor Balzotti's and mine. We've lived through Mayor Balzotti's city for the past 4 years. Higher taxes, pay raises for city officials, including herself, more violent crime, and a city hall that is closed to business. My city, our city, will have lower property taxes, less crime, and a city hall that is open for business. Together we can rebuild our city. It's time for a change. My name is Bill Carpenter. I humbly ask for your vote on November 5th. I will be proud to serve as your next mayor.
All right, folks, let's wrap this up. That's going to conclude the second mayoral debate that was held here in the new Buckley Performing Arts Center at Massasoit Community College in Brockton. We want to thank both Mayor Linda Balzotti and mayoral candidate Bill Carpenter for participating in this event. Now, if you'd like, let's give them a round of applause. Give yourself one, too. Steve, is there anything you want to say in closing?
No, thank you.
All right. We also want to take a time to thank the folks from 95.9 WATD, the Enterprise newspaper, plus our timekeeper, Joe Rossi, as well as the folks behind the scenes who are here, who put this together, not only Massasoit TV, but the theater at the Buckley Performing Arts Center, who made the simulcast possible. I want to thank also the listeners and viewers and the folks who were here attending. Don't forget to go out and vote Tuesday, November 5th. The polls in the city open at 7 a.m., close at 8 p.m. And if you want to play a role in this city government, get out and speak with your votes. Thank you and good night.